A Very Royal Narcissist, Part 7. Earlier this year, the Sussexes made an announcement that they would be stepping back from their role as senior royals. As part of this ongoing series of an analysis and dissection of the behaviours of Meghan Markle recently, and moving towards a comprehensive update of more recent activity, it is useful to look back at the decision that was made, to analyse it in the context of understanding the behaviour of a narcissist. The decision was that they would split their time between North America and the United Kingdom. Number one, whose decision is it anyway? Harry and Meghan said that they made the decision after many months of reflection and internal discussions. However, as those of you who have been entangled with a narcissist know, that your voice comes second. Where you are able to achieve something which the narcissist agrees with, understand that the only reason this has happened is because the narcissist wanted it anyway. And you have not caused the narcissist to grant you this. You've not forced, threatened, cajoled, or persuaded. The narcissist wanted that outcome. More usually, of course, the outcome is the one that the narcissist wants. And in this instance, be under no misapprehension that the decision that was made was Meghan Markle's. She's the controller, and everybody else around her must be controlled, which naturally includes Prince Harry as her intimate partner primary source. Ms. Markle's unconscious facade management paints a gloss of it being a considered and joint decision. It is not. Miss Markle made the decision, and Prince Harry has to go along with it. Whilst we are not privy to the actual discussions, since Miss Markle is a narcissist, it's highly likely that she will have utilised the following manipulations to get his consent. Pity play. She will have pointed to the media dislike of her, and how unfair it is, and how this should be escaped by moving in part to North America and cutting ties with royal duties. Guilt. Do it for me. You want me to be happy, don't you? If you want what's best for us, you would agree with me. Triangulation. This is what would be best for Archie. You want to have your son to have the best start in life, don't you? Promise gain. It'll be an equal split. We won't lose touch with your family and the UK. I know it's an important part of your life. Future faking. You will definitely spend at least half of we will definitely spend at least half of our time in the United Kingdom. I promise. Threat. If we don't do this, I don't know how we'll manage. Or, if we don't get some breathing space, H, who knows what it will do to us, and I don't want to lose us. Do you? Ms. Markle has made this decision. Prince Harry has been manipulated into agreement. It isn't agreement made with any degree of free will. Initially, he will believe it is what he wants because he remains caught up in his love for Miss Markle, and, like any empathic victim, he wants everything to be fine and for it all to work. His emotional thinking will be in overdrive, persuading him through flawed logic that this is the appropriate thing to do. In the fullness of time, he will realise that it isn't what he wants. But of course, he is forced to maintain the facade of agreement for fear of reprisal. Many of you listening will have experienced this. Number 2. No good advice. Note that the decision was purportedly made with regard to apparent reflection and internal discussions, i.e., to suggest that it is a joint decision between Miss Markle and Prince Harry. There is an absence of reference to having taken advice from other sensible sources, to having taken soundings from knowledgeable individuals, to have floated the idea with those who may be able to offer sound and wise counsel. This is no surprise, and evidences the narcissistic behaviours of the need for control. Taking advice from others means relinquishing control. Look at, for example, the behaviour of Prince Andrew in A Very Royal Narcissist Part 5. Haughtiness. I know best. Sense of entitlement. I do what I want. Grandiosity. Nobody knows better than me. 3. A failure to consult. The royal family were reported to be hurt at the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's announcement that they will step back as senior royals. Prince Harry and Meghan didn't consult any senior royal before making the statement. Marrying into the royal family brings privilege and also obligation. Miss Markle is naturally content to embrace the privilege and the platform, but since she has no sense of accountability, her narcissism rejects the obligation that comes with this. Therefore, she decides that she can have the upside and reject the downside of becoming a royal. The failure to consult with the rest of the royal family, and especially the Queen, demonstrates a sense of entitlement, a lack of accountability, grandiosity, an absence of emotional empathy. Markle doesn't care how her decision makes anybody else feel, although she does have cognitive empathy, and therefore can layer on the gloss to make it appear as if she cares, but she doesn't. Her needs, through the prime aims, always come first, in order to maintain her unstoppable need for control over everything around her. Although, of course, this is an unconscious need, and one of which she is not aware. Number 4. Show me the money. They said they intended to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent. Miss Markle's decision is essentially, we are leaving, but in the meantime we'll take the paycheck, thank you very much. It's akin to you saying to your employer, I'm going part-time while I look at other options. I've not discussed this with you, but you will continue to pay me as a full-time employee. Anybody with a sense of accountability would state, okay, we're going to go our own way. We can't therefore expect to be financially supported because we are stepping back from our role as senior members of the royal family. This evidences the narcissistic behaviours of a sense of entitlement, a lack of accountability, asset acquisition, lack of emotional empathy, poor boundary recognition. 5. Financial hypocrisy. The statement that was released was that the Sussexes would work to be financially independent. But doesn't Harry have a substantial inheritance from his mother? Financial support in his position as a royal, and moreover, Miss Markle repeatedly likes to remind us that she's self-made. Therefore, either she isn't as financially well off as she likes to portray, grandiosity, facade management, or she could be financially independent now, but won't do so, and will continue to take financial support from the royal family. Hypocrisy, sense of entitlement, lack of emotional empathy. Either way, it is yet another example of Miss Markle's narcissism at work. 6. To isolate is to control. This geographic balance will enable us to raise our son with an appreciation for the royal tradition into which he was born, while also providing our family with the space to focus on the next chapter, the couple said. This is just the facade being managed once again, and is purely a sop to suggest that the royal connection will be upheld. What it really is the start of the salami-slicing removal of Prince Harry from any influence which will impact on Miss Markle's control of him. It also contains a passive-aggressive dig by referring to the provision of space, and once demonstrates the sense of entitlement and lack of accountability. Miss Markle fails, because she's a narcissist, to recognise that when you enter the royal family, you leave your entitlement to space at the main gate. This statement is a manipulation through facade management, and its true purpose is to deflect from Prince Harry's systematic isolation from others, which better enables Miss Markle to assert control over him as the intimate partner primary source in a sustained devaluation. 7. The narrow focus of control. Those of you familiar with my work know that the vast majorities of narcissists are lesser or mid-range. This means they don't know what they are, they can't change, and they operate instinctively. It also means that the narcissist is entirely, unconsciously, focused on control in the now, and isn't concerned with control last week or control in 3 months' time. This means that the narcissist makes decisions, unconsciously, based on asserting control now, without due regard for collateral consequences. This invariably leads to poor collateral outcomes for many narcissists, not all, in terms of failed relationships, poor familial relationships, job issues, money problems, criminal activity, and so forth. For example, a lesser narcissist, when challenged by his foreman, may well assert in that moment by physically assaulting the foreman. The narcissist gained control in that moment, which is all that his narcissism wants. However, the collateral consequence is that he loses his job. Of course, at that later point, His narcissism rejects that it is his fault, as he declares, "The foreman provoked me," or "I never wanted to work for those arseholes anyway." It is never the narcissist's fault, but this need for control and shirking accountability often leads to adverse collateral consequences. Ms. Markle's action is no different. Her decision is apparently about seeking space and looking to the next chapter. However, this unprecedented behaviour will only stoke media comment and interest, much of which is likely to be challenge fuel, and therefore her actions might achieve control now, but will lead to potential control issues thereafter. But remember, her narcissism is only concerned about control in the moment, not that's what is coming down the line. That issue has already actually been identified, albeit not in the context of narcissism, with this observation reported by BBC News. Professor Kate Williams, a royal historian, said it will be difficult for Harry and Meghan to lead normal lives, as media interest in them will increase after their unprecedented move. Therein lies the adverse collateral consequence. Number 8. Fuel me, world. Making this announcement has naturally provoked a massive media and public response. Who has provoked all of these comments, the speculation and observations? Miss Markle. Therefore, every column inch, every news report, every tweet, every conversation about this matter is fuel, and allows Miss Markle to feel that she is asserting control in her unconscious. Those who support her decision state as such are providing her with positive fuel and reinforcing, therefore, that she has control. Those who question it, query the basis for it, reject the manner in which it has been done, or are otherwise critical, are issuing challenge fuel. Thus there is fuel, but it challenges her sense of control and her sense of entitlement. She will, of course, deal with this by focusing on the fact that she's getting her way amongst those that support her, and she will ignore those that are against her. And what of the world and its observations about this behaviour? It has been described as unprecedented and beyond bizarre. The BBC's royal correspondent has framed it as, "Some might see this as the slimmed-down monarchy that the 21st century needs. But Harry and Meghan reached people that other royals didn't. They were part of the reinvention and refreshing of the institution." Once again, that misses what is actually happening here. It is narcissism in action. One commentator got slightly closer, as reported by BBC News. Graham Smith, a spokesman for Republic, which campaigns for an elected head of state, said Harry and Meghan's decision raises questions about the monarchy's future and will prompt taxpayers to ask how the couple's extra security and overseas lifestyle will be funded. Mr. Smith questioned why they were announcing they were working towards being financially independent, saying, "To suggest they're not already financially independent is incredibly crass and belies a sense of self-entitlement and a lack of self-awareness that is common among royals." Mr. Smith therefore identifies the sense of entitlement and lack of self-awareness that this decision belies, albeit misses that it is narcissism at work. The continuing behaviour of Meghan Markle provides an excellent example of a narcissist in action. Although, as always, the world invariably fails to understand what is happening, pontificates about the behaviour, and forms the wrong conclusions time and time again. This enables such behaviour to continue in relationships, both romantic and familial, social, in the workplace, and beyond. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.